Hello, folks. This is Ken David Stewart back with you, and I'm going to read to you from a new novel that I'm working on. I started it before, but due to some circumstances that happened, I had to put it on the shelf for a while. It's called Chaos, a novel by Ken David Stewart, the revised version number 1. Episode 1. On April 16th, 2016, Harold Peyton turned 65. He was troubled by the realization that he was now officially a senior citizen. His beloved wife, Camilla, had moved out of his house on this very date, April 16th, 2015. Harold remained living in their old house that he had done without reservations and repairs for at least a decade. Although a friend had encouraged him to find a new place to live, Harold was too deeply overwhelmed by his circumstances to think about changing his living arrangements. His stepson, Jeff, even asked Harold to come and stay with him and his family. But Harold didn't want to impose upon him, and he didn't want Jeff to know that he'd start drinking alcohol again. He had 11 years of sobriety to his credit before he relapsed back into the disease of addiction. Harold started drinking again a few days after he and Camilla separated. On a Friday morning, Harold walked by the local Manitoba Liquor Commission. He had just finished going to the post office to mail in thank you notes to all the people who had sent their condolences. As soon as Harold opened the door to the liquor store, he literally walked across the red carpet. Harold felt right at home. It was as if the last 11 years of his life had never happened. Harold decided to take a tour of the liquor store to check out all the different kinds of alcohol on display. After about 20 minutes of exploring the store, Harold decided upon the largest bottle of Jack Daniels that he could find. He walked out of the liquor store without the slightest feelings of guilt and shame. Episode 2. Harold had now been retired for 5 years. He had worked as a high school English teacher for 27 years. He was now receiving a CPP pension, a retired teacher's pension, and was about to start receiving his old age security benefits. Harold only returned to drinking alcohol for 1 year after his wife left him. After the 1 year was over, Harold returned to his old Alcoholics Anonymous group and was welcomed back with open arms. When he turned 65, Harold realized that he had to get back on his feet. 1 year of indulging himself in self-pity and substance abuse was long enough. As he gradually accumulated more sobriety, his once brilliant mind had started to function again. And he became, he became very introspective. He began thinking about what he was going to do with the rest of his life. After all, Harold was only in his mid-60s. He realized that he could possibly have 20 more years in store for himself. Harold had kept physically fit before his drinking got out of control. He got back into the habit of going for a 45-minute bike ride each day. He also worked out at Shapes, his local gym, at least 3 times per week. When he started going to Shapes, he started out with performing a resistance training circuit. Within a few months, Harold was looking significantly better. By means of his weight training program, Harold was starting to regain most of his youthful muscle definition. He was still approximately 70 pounds overweight, according to his family doctor's body mass index chart. A good part of the problem was that Harold could not get himself motivated to cook healthy meals. While Harold and Camilla were together, his wife did the majority of the cooking. The only type of cooking that Harold enjoyed was barbecuing using an old circular-shaped charcoal barbecue. He was afraid of using the newer gas-powered grills. Harold would barbecue hot dogs, hamburgers, and steak practically every day during the summer. Occasionally he'd put on his parka and barbecue outside during the winter months. After Camilla moved out, Harold had to learn to fend for himself. He realized that he would have to eat something, so he started to think of all the meals he could prepare for himself without having to really cook. One morning Harold sat down and made a list of all the meals that he could make on his own. The list that Harold came up with included toast, various types of sandwiches, dry breakfast cereals, large bars of cheese, pizza pops, raw pepperoni sticks, hot dogs, raw fruits and vegetables, spam, and assorted canned foods. Okay, folks, I think I'm going to hold it for that particular episode right there, and we shall see you next time.